Your parents are telling you to buy. The internet is telling you to rent. Who do you believe? Roll the intro. Welcome everybody, it's so nice to see your smiling faces. If you're new here, thank you. I'm AlexBeltran and I talk about real estate and lifestyle. Today we're going to talk about buying v leasing. This seems to be one of the questions that I get asked the most. On top of that, it seems to be one of the questions that get asked the most on the internet in general. The problem is it's hard to get a simplified answer. On one hand, you have people like Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, Gary Vee telling you that buying a house is a horrible investment. On the other hand, you have financial experts, realtors, your parents telling you that buying a house is the only answer. The truth is, they're both right, but you have to take a step back and realize the audience that both sides are catering to. Grant Cardone, who's a real estate genius, I look up to him, caters to investors and entrepreneurs. Same with Gary Vee. They're telling people how to maximize every cent they make and create a personal brand. And while those aren't the only qualifying factors for leasing a property, it's what makes sense for that particular niche mindset. On the other hand, you have real estate agents that generally tend to work with families that are looking for a little more long-term investments, a place to raise their family and create memories. You know, polar opposite mindsets. Full disclosure, yes, I am a realtor. I do believe that buying a property is generally the correct answer for the majority of people. Although when I get new clients, I don't automatically push a house on them. I get to know them. I ask them a series of questions to narrow down the best option for them. There are times when leasing is the clear answer, and there are times when leasing is a complete waste of money. Now, I'm not going to go into which one is cheaper. There are several videos on YouTube that go heavily into that, and on top of that, they're super boring. Not to mention that there's so many variables that this is literally a case-by-case situation. Your price point, your tax bracket, the city you live in, the type of financing you choose. If you're interested in a great calculator to help you figure this out, I'm going to link down below to the New York Times. They came out with a great calculator, and it'll definitely help you with your case-by-case situation. Check it out. I want to make this more like a conversation that I would normally have with my clients. Because I've noticed that the numbers aren't always the deciding factor. There are mindsets and end goals to consider as well. So buying, it's more of a long-term solution. There's more that you can do with the house that you buy. An easy one is pets. No pet rent or restrictions. You can customize the house to your specific needs. And you'll never have to worry about getting a 30 or 60 day notice because the landlord wants to move back in. The other thing you can do is leverage the house to obtain your dream home. You can purchase a starter home, live in it for a couple years, then leverage that property to obtain your dream home. It's a process. With the exception of trust fund babies, most people start with the starter home, then keep upgrading to bigger and better houses. That's how it is in every industry. Think about it. When you were young and picked up your first instrument, you didn't pick up a state-of-the-art Paul Reed Smith or a custom DW drum set. Chances are you probably got like a First Act or a cheap knockoff brand, and then grew from there. Or, you know, whatever hobby you decided to pick up. And it's kind of the same thing with houses. You have to get started. You can also create passive income out of your home. You can live in it for a few years and rather than selling it, turn it into an investment property. Lease it out. Now you can use that passive income that the property generates as another form of income to get yourself a better home or another investment property. Yes, this is riskier and you should always use an experienced real estate agent to help you navigate these waters. But the general rule of thumb is, don't go over budget. Yes, if you play with the calculator that I linked down below long enough, you'll realize that owning a home is more expensive than renting one at times, and in the moment. But it's a way to force yourself to save, which is why buying is a long-term investment. Because once you pay the house off, it's yours. Other than living expenses and property taxes, you don't have to make any more payments. You will literally be sitting on top of a pot of gold, kind of like Smaug in The Hobbit, making it cheaper in the grand scheme of things. It's your personal estate home where future generations of your family will be able to enjoy. Now I get it, some of you really want to emphasize on the numbers aspect of real estate. Yes, all these YouTube business gurus are off telling you how well they do in life, and if you buy their online courses, you're going to turn into a bazillionaire just like them. And they will have you believe that everybody is walking around with $1 million in their back pocket. But the truth is quite grim. The majority of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency. Which brings me back to buying a house forces you to save. Yes, you'll have to struggle to save for the initial down payment, but I can assure you, it will be worth it. Because at the end of the day, owners will always be better off financially than consumers. We're moving to a very Uber for homes type situation, but once again, the owners will reign supreme just like they always have since the beginning of capitalism. You don't want to look back and think to yourself, man, I should have bought those properties and had them working for me by now. It's like the California gold rush. Everyone wanted to come and strike gold, but there were several people that made a fortune without ever having to look for gold, simply by selling shovels. Simply by selling shovel. Buying a home right now is a shovel that will make this Uber economy for homes function. Think of it like an unknown stock that's about to skyrocket in price. Now let's go into leasing. Leasing makes sense for the short term, the person who moves a lot because of work. Or you're new to the area and the housing market is moving too fast, so you need a temporary place to put your family while you find a more permanent solution. Or you want to try different cities to see where you want to lay down your roots. Or you simply want to try different parts of the city that you currently live in. You want to get into a certain school zone for your kids and you can't afford to buy in that particular neighborhood. Yet, you want to vacation for an extended period of time. Leasing makes perfect sense for these particular scenarios. I get it. Short term is relative. I had a client that couldn't buy a house in a neighborhood where the schools were amazing, so they leased for 15 years. During that time, they had the foresight to save for a house while their kids went to school. Once the kids went off to college, they bought a plot of land and built their dream home. They leased with a purpose. Now let's touch on what people like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee are doing. They want to use the money that you would be putting into a down payment to start a business, rather than tying it up into a dwelling. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's great advice. It's leasing with a purpose. But that is the start to their method. Eventually, once you get those business going, you're gonna wanna buy a house. All roads lead to Rome. In this case, Rome is purchasing a house, whether it's to live in or add to a balanced financial portfolio. I'm not telling you not to look at the numbers. They're very important. You have to make sure that you can afford the house in the moment so you don't lose it entirely. That's a given. What I'm saying is don't make decisions solely based on numbers. Take a step back. Look at the larger picture. How your living situation fits with your overall goals. The best way to predict the future is by creating it. My man Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter. Now there's nothing wrong with leasing long term. For some people, especially in big cities like New York, Los Angeles, where the housing prices are unobtainable to most people, leasing is a great option, especially if you're rent controlled. Now, question of the day, where do you see yourself in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Seriously, pause this video, turn off all distractions, close your eyes, relax, and think. Write your answers in the comment section down below. Seriously, I genuinely would like to know. That's it for this video, you guys. If you found this video entertaining or informative, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a protest thumbs up anyway. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. I'm getting ready to start uploading a little more often. I'm just working out the logistics. If you have any questions, my contact information is linked down below in the description. I will have more up-to-date posts on Instagram, so go on ahead and give me a follow there as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be productive. Shoo.